The moment I walked into the courtroom, my mother laughed under her breath. My father shook his head as if I'd already lost. Their eyes said it all. Pathetic, weak, irrelevant. But it wasn't their reaction that stopped the air from moving. It was the judge. His hand trembled, his face drained white. He whispered to the clerk, but I heard it clearly across the silence. Dear God, is that really him? Every pair of eyes turned toward me. They had no idea who I was until that second. And that was exactly how I planned it. I was born into a family that fed on appearances. My father, a polished businessman with too many secrets. My mother, a woman who lived for status, cruelty dripping like perfume. I was the shadow child, the mistake, the one they silenced, ignored, or mocked at every family dinner. My brother was their golden heir. Private, schools, trust funds, the company seat. I was the one told to be grateful for. Scraps, they taught me early. Love was conditional. Respect had to be begged. For I begged once. Never again. Still, I tried. I worked double shifts to pay off their debts, slipped money into their mortgage to keep their house, even cover my brother's college fees. They called me lazy. They called me worthless. And I believed them until I didn't. The truth surfaced quietly like rot beneath polished wood. It started with a sealed envelope I found in the attic, my name scratched across it in my grandfather's handwriting. Inside were documents that didn't make sense. Property deeds, bank records, and a will. His will, not the one read after his death, the one that declared my brother's sole heir. This was different. This one left everything. Everything to me. I thought it was a mistake until I compared signatures, until I saw the notarized seals, until I noticed the altered dates my parents had destroyed. The original will replaced it with a forgery, and in doing so, stripped me of my inheritance. I replayed the years in my head, the way they sneered at me for not contributing, how they told me I wasn't cut out for business, how they forced me to sign papers I never understood. They weren't just cruel, they were thieves. I should have screamed. I should have confronted them. Instead, I folded the documents neatly back into the envelope, slid it into my jacket, and smiled, because for the first time in my life, I wasn't powerless. Rage is useless without control. I let mine simmer until it became steel. I studied corporate law at night. I memorized forgery statutes, inheritance loopholes, shareholder rights. I learned the language my family had always used against me. I didn't quit my job. I didn't storm into their house. I waited. I watched. I collected evidence, bank statements hidden under false accounts, property transfers made to family friends, backroom deals that would crumble in the light of day. And when I was ready, I made a single phone call to the one man my parents underestimated, my grandfather's old lawyer, the only one who would remember the truth. We built the case in silence, not for weeks, not for months, for years. And when the foundation was set, I struck. It began quietly, the way storms do. Subpoenas delivered to my father's office. Bank accounts frozen. Overnight, my brother's smug smile fading as creditors circled. My mother pacing, calling everyone she knew while doors slammed in her face. They thought it was bad luck. They thought it was coincidence until the lawsuit hit. My lawsuit filed with the original will, notarized, authenticated, bulletproof. My parents arrived in court confident. Their lawyer smirked. They'd forged documents before. They believed they could twist truth again, but they hadn't calculated me. They hadn't calculated patience. I watched from the corner as evidence unfolded piece by piece. Signatures compared, dates dissected, witnesses called. Each revelation wasn't loud. It was quiet, precise like knives, sliding between ribs. And with each cut, I saw my family bleed. Which brings us back to the courtroom. The day everything unraveled. When I walked in, they saw me as a failure child. The extra mouth they never wanted. They didn't recognize the man who had built this moment with surgical precision. The judge's whisper silenced the room. My mother's laugh died in her throat. My father's smirk cracked. My brother shifted in his seat, finally afraid. I took the stand not as a victim, not as the forgotten son, but as the rightful heir, armed with truth sharp enough to cut through decades of lies. I laid it all out, document after document, signature after signature, the forgery, the fraud, the theft, and then I handed the judge the final envelope, the one I'd carried for years, my grandfather's handwritten letter addressed to me. If you are reading this, it means the others have taken what was meant for you, but you are my blood. You are my legacy. Do not let them laugh at you any longer. Silence. Heavy. Absolute. My mother covered her mouth. My father's face sagged. My brother whispered something to their lawyer, but it was useless. The court clerk read the letter aloud, each word hammering nails into their coffin. The judge leaned forward, voice steady. Now this case is not just clear, it is damning. The state belongs solely to him. The fraudulent actions of the defendants will be referred to the district attorney. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I simply watched as the world shifted. They turned to stare at me, not with contempt, not with pity, but with fear. When the gavel struck, it wasn't just the sound of justice. It was the sound of chains snapping. I walked past my family without a glance. Their whispers, their pleading eyes, they meant nothing. They'd spent a lifetime teaching me I was invisible. And now, finally, I was untouchable. Outside the courthouse, the air felt different. Clean. I thought my grandfather, of the letter, of the boy I used to be, begging for love at a table where none was offered. He was gone, buried in the ashes of betrayal. What remained was me, the man who waited, who planned, who struck at the precise moment. And as the city moved around me, I let the truth settle deep in my chest. They had laughed when I walked in. They weren't laughing when I walked.